everyone, this is MykeCheck'd95 back at it again with another MykeCheck'd Productions MykeCheck'd movie review. And before I get into this movie review, I will let you guys know that I do have a Patreon account set up for this channel and my RDW Red Dust Wrestling RDW Simulation League channel. That's also going to be there. I'll have a link for that channel and both Patreon accounts down below. Again, if you like any of the content that I put on this channel or the other one, do definitely send some support my way or whatnot. Or if you just enjoy the content, just straightforward from both channels, just sign up if you want to see some more. Excuse me on that one. I do apologize. Let's get on to this movie review. As you've seen in my last two videos, I did a review for two newer movies. I did the review for the 2020 Grudge film, and I did the review for the 2018, I could be wrong on the year, sorry about that, of Godzilla King of the Monsters. And now, we are taking a jump to the 1990s and getting a review done for a film called 8mm. And again, if you do see me looking down below, like not looking at the camera at all, it's because I have my notes for this film on my phone. Again, not really professional set when it comes to this. I do need my notes in front of me, so don't dog on me on that. It's just how I do my reviews nowadays. 8mm is a thriller mystery film of a detective doing a missing person case. The case he's working on is proving whether or not a snuff film is real or not, and looking for the girl in the film who is still alive, proving that Miss Christian, the woman who found the film, that her deceased husband wasn't responsible for the snuff film. Now, the one thing that really kind of got me surprised into watching it was, I didn't really pick this movie. My friend that I was staying with at the time, he's the one that picked the movie and we sat down and watched it. What really kind of surprised me was this film is a Joel Schumacher film that he directed. And we all know that recently, probably about a month ago now, that Joel Schumacher had passed away, losing his battle with cancer, I believe. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. And I recently did a movie review of, not like a movie review, but more like a revisit of Batman and Robin. And again, if you want to see my thoughts on that, I'll have a link on that down below. And I've also pretty much seen a Joel Schumacher film pretty much once a week since then. Not intentionally, but that's just the way it happened. So I'll definitely have a review of Batman Forever coming up, probably in the near future, probably within the next few days. And then there's this film, 8mm. It does star Nicolas Cage, and I didn't really have much high hopes, not because it's Joel Schumacher, but because usually when it comes to Nicolas Cage films, he kind of hit a point to where he doesn't really play the part, he just plays himself and just does Nicolas Cagey things. So I'm just kind of going into oh man, what's this guy gonna do now? And again, this was set in the 90s, so probably a different time period, so it's probably more, I guess, normal back then. This film wasn't bad. It wasn't like a straight horror movie. It was more like I said, a thriller mystery film with a kind of a good amount of tension, and for a first-time viewer, it made me kind of uncomfortable watching it a few times, because this film dove really deep into the underground, pretty much red room, dark web, pornography scene, and it's just I don't show movie clips in my movie reviews just so that I don't get tagged with any copyrights, so there's that for sure. But even if I did, you wouldn't get anything from me for this movie, because this film, it doesn't show it all the time, but it's just the parts in it that I saw. For a first time viewer, if it was maybe uncomfortable for at least the first half of the film. I can kind of go through how the film goes on in my notes here. So again, this will definitely be a spoiler-filled review. I'll have it up there in the title of the video. So back into my notes here. The film stars Nicolas Cage as Tom Wells, a detective with the case, and Joaquin Phoenix, an adult store cashier who he runs into to help him with this case. It was made in 1999 and directed by Joel Schumacher. The acting in the very beginning was so far been pretty good. You can definitely feel the emotion in the film. Cage hasn't really started doing cagey things yet in the very beginning. He kind of doesn't do anything Nicolas Cagey-like until about maybe 3/4 into the movie, I would say. And again, he meets the the widow of the man who had the video in his safe and whatnot, and he goes into this investigation to figure out whether or not the girl in this snuff film was actually murdered or if it was just like extreme fucking acting. And goes on this case, and he later on does find out that the snuff film is real, and the girl was actually murdered in the snuff film, and it's just the Mrs. Christian's dead husband got it just because he wanted to, and you kind of just learn how really fucked up the underground world can be, and like if you're not careful you could end up in a really bad situation. Like I said, I probably won't really touch base too much on this movie because it's been a while since I've really watched this film, and I had a really hard time retaining everything because I tried to block out a lot of the uncomfortable stuff that kind of made me uncomfortable, I would say. But I would say that the reveal of who was behind the film that he was investigating, I felt like it was a little too early into the movie. I think it was about a little over halfway into the movie, and I just felt like it was kind of like too soon and like quick and straight to it, because as soon as you find out who had done the movie or the film, Nicolas Cage escaped with his life and whatnot, and it's just, that's when you start turning into kind of like a revenge plot, and Nicolas Cage does like Nicolas Cagey things and everything, which, I mean, I get that when you're an individual as the main protagonist of this film and he sees all this stuff and he almost gets stuck into a situation like this, it really does, like I was telling my friend, it really does mess with your head, and it kind of sends you on a downward spiral, and hopefully it doesn't drive you crazy and everything, and you want to like make sure that yourself and anyone close to you is safe and whatnot. But yeah, like the reveal was about a little over halfway, and I just kind of felt like they may have kind of rushed it with the ending, and then kind of getting the whole revenge hero wins the day by killing the antagonists and everything. But I mean, it wasn't like super awful. Like the uncomfortableness stopped about halfway, and then it just turned to your average like revenge plot with Nicolas Cage. And like I said, it kind of brought the tone down for the film for me, but again, I didn't really get turned off by it. I didn't really just start like playing a game on my phone or whatever. I mean, it was alright for like a 1999 film directed by Joel Schumacher, rest in peace, his soul and whatnot. It wasn't awful, and like I said, it wasn't like Batman and Robin status, which again, I don't hate that movie anymore, so you can't say that I hate that film. It was subpar. It was subpar for the most part. It's definitely a film that you will need to have a better understanding of what's going on in the world before you get into it, because if you go into this film blind and then you watch it, it honestly would make the normal person probably scare the world and not want to leave their house like ever, doors locked, and turn into a hermit, which that, I understand if that actually happens. But if you go into it with a little bit of knowledge of like what goes on like behind the scenes in the underground scene when it comes to stuff like that, you don't get as uncomfortable, and you kind of do understand like the trauma that the people go through when it comes to stuff like that. And I mean, it may also kind of ruin the movie experience, I would say, because you're not going in blind and you're not getting like the actual like emotion they're trying to pull out of you when it comes to this movie. But it just depends on how you want to go for this movie. Either you want to go into it knowing about some of the stuff that goes on, not the actual movie, but the stuff behind the scenes, or you want to go in completely blind and then just come out either very disgusted or uncomfortable or like, what the fuck? Mainly the reaction, what the fuck, is the reaction you get with someone that hasn't going into it blind. But again, like, it's definitely not a movie for everyone. It's definitely a movie that I probably won't watch. I wouldn't say I wouldn't watch it again. I wouldn't really recommend people to watch it over and over and over again unless they really like this kind of stuff. But I would give it I'll probably also give it a 6.8, about the same rating I gave it as The Grudge. Not like super terrible, but also not like super great. Again, people do say that 6.8 or anything below a 7 is kind of a failing grade, but to me, I mean, it doesn't really take much for me to be like really into a movie. Like even the subpar to like average films that people absolutely hate, I find still somewhat entertaining. If I am not completely turned off by it, then it's still an okay movie. Like I said, this is an okay movie. Again, not everyone's cup of tea, but definitely a movie that if you want to learn more about it, or if you just want to go into it blind, definitely go watch it. Second viewing though, that just depends on what you want to do. I wouldn't want to watch the second time unless I happen just to walk in and that's the one they're watching. At least I know what I'm getting into this time. But 6.8 out of 10, not a bad average for me when it comes to rating. But those are my quick thoughts on 8mm by Joel Schumacher, starring Nicolas Cage and a very young Joaquin Phoenix, because he looks like he's about 16 in this movie. For anyone out there who has seen 8mm since it's been out for probably over 20 plus years, I don't feel like doing the math off the top of my head. It's also like 2 in the morning as I'm recording this. What were your thoughts on 8mm when it first came out? Were you one of the first people to watch it in theaters? Are you like are you a moviegoer like me who saw it now as like a younger age, or this is your first time ever seeing it like this year, or like you're an older fan and you've seen this film before? What were your thoughts on the film? Like I said, I don't really know that many people who actually seen this movie, so I would really like to bounce some like opinions in the comment sections or whatnot, or whatever, any way you want to discuss the film with me. This is kind of a film that like I would like to hear other opinions about. But again, give your thoughts down below in the comment sections. Don't forget to check out my Patreon accounts for both this channel, MykeCheck'd Productions, and RDW Red Dust Wrestling. And also give a quick follow and a like on this channel if you've been enjoying the new content lately. I'm gonna try and get more stuff uploaded. It's been really rough the last couple months. I've recently just got moved here in this house and then had a lot more drama going on and everything, so hopefully I'm able to get everything turned around and going again. I'm also very behind on my RDW channel. If any of you subscribers are fans of my RDW work, I do apologize for being super late when it comes to that. I'm trying to get things turned around with my new job and all. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll be back again with a couple more reviews, probably within the next few days. This has been another MykeCheck'd Productions MykeCheck'd movie review done by MykeCheck'd 95. Signing out.